In this lecture, we're going to add a toolbar to the recipe block. The text inside the recipe block is currently aligned to the left. Some users may want to align it to the center or to the right. If I were to begin typing, then a new paragraph block will be added. Above it, I'll be provided a toolbar. I have the option to change this to a heading, align the text, bold the text, create a link, etc. WordPress allows us to add a toolbar to our block that can manipulate the way a block looks and feels. We even have the power to add in our own options to the block. For now, I want to focus solely on adding the alignment options to our block. The toolbar we're trying to add is called Block Controls. This is a component provided by WordPress. It will take care of creating the UI and correctly position the toolbar for us. Let's load it in. Back inside the index file for the block, I'm going to destructure two components. The components will be Block Controls and Alignment Toolbar from the wp.editor object. Once again, the Block Controls component will take care of creating the container and UI for the toolbar. The Alignment Toolbar component will take care of creating the buttons for the Alignment Toolbar. This includes the icons and functionality as well. Before we begin using these components, we'll need to store the value for the alignment. Inside the Attributes object, create a new property called Text Alignment with a type of string. We are not going to specify a source or selector. Even though the value will be used inside an attribute, we're going to let WordPress keep track of the value. I'll explain how this will work in just a moment. For now, let's keep moving forward. Now that we have an attribute to store the value, let's add the component to the block. Inside the block, before the unordered list, add the Block Controls component. Anything in between these tags will be placed inside the toolbar. We want to place the Alignment Toolbar inside the toolbar, so do so now. This component requires two values. The first is the value and the second is the function to run when the alignment changes. I'm going to set the value to the Text Alignment attribute. For the onChange property, we're going to add an inline function. We'll refer to the new value as newVal. Using the props object, call the setAttributes function and pass in an object. Set the text alignment property to newVal. The event is triggered whenever a user selects an alignment. We've updated the value. The last step to all of this is to apply the alignment to the block. Inside the unordered list, add the style attribute. This will be set to an object. The properties inside the object will be converted into CSS properties with their respective values. We only need to set one property, and that's the text align property. You'll notice that I'm writing this with camel casing. React will take the time to convert this into its original CSS property. This will apply to most CSS properties with multiple words. For example, background color is written like this. This is common practice among developers, so be aware of that. I'm going to set the alignment property to props.attributes.textAlignment. This will also need to be applied to the save function. Copy this code and paste it in the same area. We're finished. Save your changes and cd into the blocks directory. Then run the npm run dev command. Once the code has been compiled, go to your recipe post on the admin area. You may see a message saying the block has changed. That's to be expected. Just add the block again. If you have your block selected, then you should see the Block Controls component appear above it. You should be able to change the alignment easily. If you were to inspect the element, then you should see the Style attribute being applied to the unordered list. The camel casing has also been converted into the appropriate CSS property. If I were to change the alignment again, then you should see the style update in real time. This is fantastic. Let's save the post and try viewing the post on the front end. The text should be aligned accordingly. As you can see, Using WordPress components is simple. The block controls component will take care of appearing when the block is selected. Gutenberg will handle correctly placing the toolbar for you and most of the basic setup. Before I end this lecture, I want to take a moment to talk about the attribute we created. If you can recall, we did not set a default, source, or selector. However, if I were to refresh the Gutenberg editor, then you should see the text still aligned to the center. The button will also be selected. In previous lectures, we had to save the value, but this is not the case for the alignment. Open Heidi and select the Posts table. Search for the post where we have the alignment applied. If you were to view the post content, then you'll see that everything is saved like before, but with one change. Inside the HTML comment, you'll find an object with the attribute saved. WordPress will attempt to save any attributes that don't have a selector in the comments. For something as simple as the text alignment, I recommend storing it in the comment. If you have something that takes up multiple lines or large values, then I recommend a selector. In the end, it's up to you. You can store the value in an HTML attribute if you want. For me, I prefer to let WordPress save it. Alright, that does it for the block controls component. We'll continue our Gutenberg journey in the next lecture. I'll see you there.